Welcome to this webinar on the marketing opportunity to lend to students. I am Nathaniel Imprim, GAMFIN's training coordinator. Today's webinar is hosted by GAMFIN and CAPLAS through our partnership with Mastercard Foundation to strengthen Ghana's non-bank financial sector. The program is called FIRST Plus, which stands for Financial Institution Resilience and Strengthening. Now, FIRST Plus addresses common challenges and opportunities across the industry through webinars like this, workshops, and training sessions. CAPLAS also provides one-to-one technical assistance to financial institutions that are committed to scaling MSME finance. At the end of the webinar, we will provide contact information if you would like to learn more. Today's webinar has three presenters, of which I will quickly introduce them. They are Alex Silva, the founding partner of Omtrix and principal designer of the Higher Education Finance Fund. He has more than 30 years of experience in international finance, with expertise in evaluating financial intermediaries, financial engineering, strategic planning, project financing, equity investing, and corporate finance. And there is Lorna Lee, who has over 25 years of investment portfolio, project finance, and corporate finance. Lorna has extensive experience in impact investment, focused on financial inclusion and education. She was the manager of the Higher Education Finance Fund, which placed $30 million in 7 countries to develop the student loan product and support nearly 13,000 students. And then finally, we have Delgado Perez. He is the general manager of the Genesis Empresa in Guatemala. Genesis, Guatemala's largest non-profit microfinance institution, serves more than 100,000 clients, most of whom live in rural areas. Genesis has made education and educational loans one of its strategic pillars and participated fully in the Higher Education Finance Fund. Again, note that throughout the webinar, we encourage you to submit questions for the presenters in the chat box, and we will address as many as possible at the end of the webinar. We are recording the webinar and we'll send you a copy of the presentation and a link to the recording afterwards. Now I'll hand over the floor to Alex. Alex, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
And you can see me.
Yes, we can see you.
Yes, good. Thank you. Thank you very much to all. And this is indeed a great honor. We, like Nathaniel said, we have more than 25 years working in inclusive finance. The last 10 years of those 25 have been working in financial education with a loan program. We're very proud of what was accomplished. And the success of that program is what led to the interest of the Mastercard Foundation and CAPLAS to try to transfer those experiences, those lessons learned to other countries, in particular to Ghana. The program that we're trying to introduce, that we will be talking about today, is one that we are very hopeful will be of great use to Ghanaian youth and the financial intermediaries that might serve them. The main goal is to implement a student loan program through financial intermediaries. This program will be targeting, we're very well aware of the intricacies and the situation of student loans and the education sector in Ghana. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. It's not like you know, when one would wonder why introduce a student loan program in a country like Ghana that is already doing quite well in this respect. And I'll get to that a little bit later. But the program is targeting youth, underprivileged youth in particular, youth that, despite the many advances that Ghana has done or has made in student loans and vocational and technical studies programs, there's still some vacuum. There's still some need for financial assistance. There's still students that cannot complete their studies. And we will talk about those opportunities to really move the needle a little bit, still a little bit further down the road. And of course, then there's the other sector, the continuous education. Individuals who already might have finished their education, they might be working, and they want to continue to improve their skills. And this is another sector that could use, financial support, loans, student loans. Next one. The program that we're trying to introduce is one that tries to understand the demand that exists for student loans. It is very important that if a loan is given, and this is one of the lessons that we have learned from implementing our program, is that the loan should be given in a condition that it can be repaid. We, and you'll hear all along this presentation, would like only to fund careers that are in demand, that a student, when she or he graduates, can find a job, and then, of course, pay back the loan, but more important, enter the job market and be a successful contributor to society. The program, and again, I'm talking a little bit about Ghana, and we're very much aware that Ghana has come a long way, and like I said, we are working with this program in many other countries. Ghana has come a long way. It does have a system that offers ample opportunities to students. A lot of the vocational and technical programs are free. And even when there are other needs, there is a student loan program, a government funded student loan program. Again, nothing is perfect, but these are very good programs. What we are offering is not in substitution, by no means. It's a complement, it's a supplement to these programs. There are opportunities with, if public institutions, and theoretically, tuition is free. And even if you need additional funding, the student loan program is there. But we all know that there are still needs, and those needs, uncovered needs, are the ones that the student loan program will be covering. For example, there are private organizations, and even then, some students, because of where they're located or because regulatory requirements or whatever, may not have access to the student loan programs. And that is where we find that the niche exists, the demand clearly exists for a complementary student loan program. The idea is to, from a financial intermediary perspective, the idea is to introduce a new product. And, that is what we, as consultants, and we're offering the service to the financial intermediaries, free of cost to them. We will try to tailor-make a program for you. The program will be looking in things like processes. We will work in developing the manuals, and we will work not only with maybe the commercial sector. No, we understand that it has to involve everybody, the information technology units, the risk units, a program that is like the introduction of any new product. That's what we do, that's what we've done, and we are hoping we can do it with financial intermediaries in Ghana. The program does not provide funding. The program is basically a technical assistance program. And this question I have been asked many times, so I'll make sure I'll slide it in and we can talk a little bit more about it. Why introduce a program like this in Ghana right now when there's a liquidity shortage and a lot of financial intermediaries may not have enough liquidity even to cover their own existing demand for their existing products? Indeed, that is very true. The answer would be at the beginning, it takes a while for any new product to be developed. We understand that initially one would be trained, that the financial intermediaries would be trained, that the pilot project would be in place. That doesn't take much of the financial intermediary liquidity. By the time that the financial intermediary that has run its pilot and it's ready to go online, we would like to think that liquidity might have improved or will, I'll be positive, will improve in Ghana. And on the other hand, while we just mentioned that we will not have at this point funding, in the next stage, the program might have some funding. Next. And the program is one that is tailored based on the experiences that we collected through the implementation of the higher education program. Next, the program, the student loan program. Next, the higher education program. Next, the higher education program is one that has, and because one could argue or ask oneself, why would a financial intermediary introduce a program like this? We can spend just a whole day discussing the many advantages it might have, certainly for the underprivileged youth, and thus for the social impact program that a financial intermediary might be interested in, if it's because it's part of its mission, or simply, in being pragmatic because it's good for the overall social responsibility program of a financial intermediary. But beyond that, it is a product that has been demonstrated that it creates loyalty among the clients. It's one that diversifies risk, and it's one that, bottom line, is a very profitable, or can be a very profitable product. The way we do it is, and Lorna, which is just about to follow me in this presentation, will elaborate a little more on how this was done elsewhere, and thus how can it be done in Ghana. We work with win-win alliances with financial intermediaries and vocational and technical organizations. With that, and again, there will be a space for question and answers, but with that, I'll move on to Lorna. Lorna, please go ahead. Next.
Thank you. As it has been mentioned before, ONTIX was retained by CAPLUS to support them in the development of the student loan in Ghana. The first thing that we did was an environment study. Based on this study, we have identified several types of student loans that could be offered in Ghana. The first, basically, these student loan products will aim to finance short-term programs. The first type of student loan product that we are proposing is at the pre-tertiary level program. Even though public TVET, we know that is free, there are some costs that are not covered by the government, such as living and other expenses, and this could be financed through the student loan. Then we have the private TVET, in which the idea is to finance tuition and other costs such as living expenses. Then we have identified the potential to finance the completion of studies for students who finish the program, but they need additional resources to cover the cost of graduate work. degree fees, and other costs. Then we also identify the possibility to finance continued education. This is aimed at individuals who already graduate but want to continue to update their skills. And finally, we have the advanced training that will be in alliance with companies that will support the employees to follow a career in order to increase their skills and productivity. These courses will be very short, such as certification that are more in demand, and which will improve the career path of the person. What is the client profile that we have identified through the Enabled Environment Study? Basically, we have identified young students that recently graduated from high school with an age ranging from 15 to 16 years old. Also, we have other students that are already studying full-time or part-time or might be employed, but they need additional over education and other education cost related. And finally, we have mature professionals employees that would like to continue with their education, mainly certification, that will allow them to move forward in their career path and also improve their salary. In the study that we made, we identified several economic sectors that are in high demand, specific careers. In the agriculture sector, also tourist sector, manufacturing, construction, electronics, and technology. As I mentioned, in the study, we identified several careers that you may see in this presentation that could be financed through the student loan product. Next, please. Through our experience, we have gathered some benefits that financial institutions could have from the implementation of the student loan in their organizations, such as financial institutions will be able to expand the product mix, basically with a new product aiming to a new market niche, in this case, youth. Then also there is the benefit of cross-selling and increased market. At the time that a financial institution are selling one product, it also can sell a student loan product to their current clients. And if they know current customer profiles, the financial institution could select one or the best of them according with the policies that are currently in place. Then we have loyalty of current and new customers. For instance, you never forget the first institution that financed the first house that you bought. It's a similar situation with the student loan. You never forget who helped you to accomplish your dream of being a professional. In this way, current customers become loyal, and those who obtain finance will be a long-term customer in various financial products. This is one of the experience that we have when we have implemented this product in other countries. When you talk with the students who have received the student loan products, they were very grateful to the financial institutions that provide them the opportunity to continue and complete their studies. Through our experience, we have gathered several lessons learned in order to have a successful implementation of the student loan. One of them is that even though we know that every financial product should focus in future growth and profitability, it's also important to take note the social impact of the student loan that will have in the generation of jobs and improvement of livelihood. It's also important that a financial institution that will decide to implement the student loan product will allocate resources, both financial and staff, to the designing and implementation and launching of this student loan program. It's also very important that the board members should send a strong message to the senior management that the program is important for the future organization. Therefore, this will be a priority within the organization. And then, being a new product, in order to mitigate the risk, the product should be designed according to the risk appetite of each financial institution. We have designed a specific methodology for the student loan product. However, this will be adapted to the risk appetite of each financial institution that will be participated in the program, as well as we are going to tailor-make the product to the culture and the niche of each financial institution. And finally, we could say, well, Don Alex already mentioned that one of the key success is to finance academic programs in training areas that are in high demand in the market. Therefore, this will facilitate the student job placement. That's why in the enable environment study, we identified several economic sectors that has careers in demand. And the idea is that the financial institutions that will be participated in this program will finance that type of careers that are in high demand. Then we also have the need of approach educational institutions in order to make alliance that will facilitate the placement of the student loans. As a matter of fact, part of the program, we have already identified several education institutions that have shown their interest in working along with this program. In addition, it's important to have an adequate support in the design of policies and procedures in order to facilitate the product implementation. And finally, it's important that the product will have flexible financial conditions in order to adapt to the needs of the market. Finally, we believe that this is a great opportunity to promote the access to and the completion of higher education for different groups of people, especially the youth and women who are in very much needed for resources to follow up education. And we're confident that with the active participation of financial institutions, educational institutions, students, and their families, we can develop a project that will have a great impact in Ghana. Thank you. I would pass to Edgardo.
Well, good afternoon, I believe, to all, and it's a pleasure for me to join you in this webinar. My name is Edgardo, and I work at Genesis Foundation. Just to give you a little bit of context, we are almost at the same latitude as Ghana, a little bit higher, but if I swim about 10,000 kilometers to the west through the Atlantic Ocean, I might be landing near the shores of Ghana. So that gives you an idea where we are located. We are a very small country. Our GDP per person is about half the size of Ghana. We are about a fourth the size of Ghana in territory. And we have around 18 million population against the 32 million population in Ghana. And we are a very small country in Central America. So I am very glad to be joining you this afternoon for you, this morning for us, to share a little bit about our educational credit programs and how we have evolved during the years. We have been working very closely with Omtrix and HEF for the last maybe 9 years. And we are very proud about the success that this program has had in the impact of young people learning different trades. So to start in the next slide, I will share you a little bit about Genesis and our program CREE. CREE in Spanish means believe, and that is the name of the program we have chosen for our credit and loans. So Genesis has been 34 years on the making, and we are a very, very focused institution on social and economic development. And our trade and most important products are in microfinance, housing, and education. In the next slide, you will see a little bit of our profile of our people. We are, as I mentioned, also a nonprofit organization specializing in microfinance. We offer both financial and non-financial services to our customers, and we specialize in training and in all the areas regarding to basic quality of life, loan management, and entrepreneurship, complemented with the education loans. I gave you a little bit of briefing of Guatemala. This is how it looks, how we look at a map on the left side. We are about 3,100 employees. Out of those, 1,700 are what we call development promoters. In other companies, they call them loan officers, but for us, they are development promoters. That gives you a sense of what they do. We are focused on developing our customers. And we have 106 development trainers that they are on the field training our customers. In 2022, we kept our stamps of quality. We have one more year for the Smart Campaign stamp. We are in the TrueLift category, a leader out of 8 institutions in the world. In MicroRate, which is our rating agency, we have the highest social performance in the world with 5 stars, and also the highest performance in the world in financial stability with Alpha Plus. We are ISO 9000 institution certified in all of our processes regarding customer services. And we are #1 in Great Place to Work in Latin America and Central America and the Caribbean for institutions over 1,000 employees. We are highly committed to the universal standards of social performance management. We've been engaging with social performance for the last 8 years at the highest level and trying to engage with all of the social and performance indicators. We have a portfolio of 320,000 customers, a portfolio of around $300 million with a delinquency rate that is, it's below, in NIF accounting, it's in 1.88, but in operational, we are below 1%. And we train around 500,000 people a year, with 250,000 of them insured. In the next slide, I will go very briefly on the image of our project, which is called CREE, as I showed before. And we are basically training all of the trades that are needed at the moment. And I'll share you a little bit more about that in a few slides. But our main purpose and our main focus and our vision is that nobody should be left out of education because of lack of money. In the next slide, you will see why this is so important for us. In Guatemala, we have high challenges regarding education. The average years of schooling is 5.6 years. We are the lowest amongst the Latin American countries. And we have a 59.3% of our population in poverty, which says a lot of the opportunities that we have to improve the quality of life of our customers. In the next slide, you will see a little bit of how in our country, schooling means increased income. And as you saw in the chart before, most of Guatemalan population does not go over primary education, which means $140 income on the average for people that are in this bucket. And you can see how it increases. These numbers are in quetzales, but at the end of the bucket in superior, we're talking about almost $500 for those who finish high school and college. In the next slide, I will show you very quickly. This is our development path, and this is how we try to focus on engaging the improvement in the quality of life of families that we take care of. And on the left side, you see how we start with the customer and his family. And you can see the animals roaming around, the kids with no shoes, the house with lacking of dignified standards, and a business probably on the edge of the street. And then you can see all the way to the right how we provide the tools to take them to the upper level in the structure of housing, business, education for kids, animal care, and now digitizing. So this map that you see here is it says at the left corner, dare to dream. And what we want is our customers to get the opportunities for higher education for their kids, high quality of business, education for their parents in how to handle the business, means of transportation, ecological housing, floors, etc. In the next slide, I will start sharing a little bit more of how our technology works. And in each of these dots that you see on the charts, it's each one of our customers. And in the vertical axis is how we grade them in financial status. We have 8 different financial variables. And on the horizontal axis, we have 12 social variables. When we mix them together in a proprietary algorithm, we segment our customers and we allocate products and services that will make them grow all the way to the right height, to the right side, right corner. Each product and service that we provide must improve the quality of life and must push either right or up or both in order to allocate products that will eradicate poverty in an average of 8 years. This is how we work on, this is our methodology, it is our focus. And now I'll show you more specific what our educational programs look like. In the next slide, please. So on the left side, we have our products, our believed products, which are 100% educational products. We require our customers to at least have 75 points as a minimum score on their tests and classes. We provide a career investment plan, and all of our training products are designed for schooling, for productive studies, college, lines of credits, and we also work with alliances with educational centers and credit schools to provide technology infrastructure for strengthening educational centers. These products are all tailor-made, and the structure of the loans are particular to each one. But as I mentioned before, we structure the loans in order to provide the solutions that a particular customer needs. If he's coming from the highlands, we provide transportation, housing, all the needs that they have to complete their studies. And in the right side, we have the non-financial services. And these are complementary services that we offer to support the students. Digital learning platforms, we provide them on training on how to write effective resumes, how to conduct job interviews, even sessions on entrepreneurship if they need to, or they want to start their own business. And then we culminate with alliances that with universities or technological centers or instructional centers on careers that are technical. Also psychological advisories and job offers. The non-financial services is probably the most important complement to the products because it keeps us close to the customers and it keeps us monitoring the path of the development that they're providing. These products are completely different as of our traditional products in microfinance. As I mentioned, we are very proficient. We grow at about 35% rate every year. But these products are very different in our portfolio. And the reason is that the proximity to the customer needs to be very, very close in order to help them achieve their goals on a steady path, so they don't desert the programs. Next slide. The benefits, well, I think those benefits are obvious. Our program was nominated for the 2016 Microfinance Award. We were a finalist on this with this program in that year. And at the end of the day, the main focus on marketing the benefits of our program is that the customers have easy access and few requirements to opt for a loan that will give them education. We have in our organization, we have a sales force that is specialized for this program. The unit is focused only on credit loans for education, and the response time is 48 hours. And we will accompany the customer along the lifetime of the education program. In the next slide, please. This is how the image looks for our marketing tools. And if you get trained, Guatemala improves. We are a family. And then the basic marketing campaign goes through if you prosper, Guatemala prospers. In the next slide, almost to finish, I would like to share that we are focused on short-term careers now. At the beginning of the program, we were focused on university careers, and that proved to be a big challenge. And now we are focusing on careers like as a mechanic, chefs, nurses, pilots, airplane pilots, and careers that are very fast, very, half a year, 1 year, and where customers will see the benefits of their studies shown faster. How does English, etc. Okay, and now to finish, I will show you a little bit of the numbers that we have in the next slide. As you can see, the program has evolved since 2014. I would say it's not a very steep curve in customer acquisition, but the impact that we have in these customers is really very, very important. We have disbursed around $4.5 million in the last couple of years. We had a little drop during the pandemic, as you can see, but over 50% of our customers are female, and we have today an active portfolio of around $4 million. In the lower part of the chart, we see that 34% of our customers are between 18 and 24 years old, and the other 35% between 25 and 35 years old. So almost, over 70% of our customers are very young and in the early stages of learning. Our delinquency rate in this program is not the best. I would say that it is higher on those loans that are long-term, because at the end of the day, when university careers are over, the income on those careers is not what the country should be offering. So it is a structural problem of the country. And that's why we have moved to short-term careers, as I mentioned before. This is a program that is nationwide, but it is focused in the city where there's the broader opportunities for our customers. And with that, I hope I have given you a little bit of light of what our educational programs are. And if there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. And the next slide is the end, and I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Alex, Lorna, and Edgardo for such a great presentation. Please, if you have any question, we encourage you to submit them in the chat box, and our presenters will address as many as possible. Edgardo, Alex, and then Lorna, before any question pops up, it's been asking, why is it important for Ghana to promote access to training in the areas of high marketing demand and short courses? Why is it important for Ghana to promote such access? Can you help us?
Thank you, Nathaniel. Like Edgardo said, this is something that once you get into, you get excited about it. You see the changes, you see how lives change. Bottom line, that is the main reason. It is life transforming. You do have a big impact. I already mentioned that Ghana has already come a long way, and it is kudos to Ghana in terms of what it has done to improve, particularly vocational and technical education. Why would it be important is because there's still so much more to do. This is from a perspective of the youth. It is from the perspective of Ghana as a society. But if one were to, and we are addressing, we're trying to introduce this through financial intermediaries. So maybe a subset of the question would be, why is it important for the financial intermediaries? And again, and I know this was already covered, beyond the fact that you are contributing to those social objectives, as Lorna very eloquently indicated, and Edgardo reaffirmed, I mean, it can become a very important part of a product mix. It's a product that creates loyalty, and it's a product that diversifies risk, and allows a lot of cross-selling. Thank you, Nathaniel.
Do you want to add something to it?
I think they have a question in the chat.
Yes, so can you please describe a typical loan product directed specifically for students? A typical loan product.
Okay, yeah, I'll try to describe the most extreme of a typical loan. Let's say we have a student that wants to study to become a chef, and he lives in the rural area. So we will structure a loan for him to come to Guatemala City. We will finance the transportation, the housing, and the tuition. During the training sessions that will last probably 6 to 7 months, he will pay only interests during that time, if he has the money. If he doesn't have the money, then we'll start charging interest at the end of the loan, which is at the end of the training sessions. It will give him probably a month or a couple of months of leniency, and then he starts paying the loan on a particular basis. So it's highly customized and depends on the requirements and the possibilities of the customer.
Thank you so much for that clarification. There's another question that is, how is this loan structured? What is most important about how it is structured? How is it structured, and can you elaborate for us?
Yes, as I mentioned, it is based on how the customer can pay for it, and the length of the training, and obviously on where he is located. So it is highly customized, and it depends a lot of the factors of the most difficult ones are university careers, because for university careers we require the customer to be above 75% on his average rates, scores. And if he doesn't reach those scores, then we need to have a specific way of helping him. That's why we have psychologists on board. I'm sorry.
Maybe I can.
And then, yes, please, Alex.
No, go ahead, please, Edgardo.
Yes, as I was saying, long-term careers a little bit more challenging, because customers starts paying at the end of the career of their studies, and that makes it a little bit, the risks are a little bit higher on those careers. Sorry, Alex.
No, so I'm sorry. No, I just wanted to compliment Edgardo's comments and address a little bit more the structure of the loan. First, one needs to understand that these programs are customized to each financial intermediary. So there is no one standard. There is no one way of doing the loans. It is a new product. It's a new product that each financial institution will introduce, and each financial institution has its own risk appetite, its own commercial apparatus, and it has its own information technology requirements. So there is no one way of structuring a program. Having said that, typically, and sort of rule of thumbs would be that the terms of the loan are normally double the length of the studies. That is, if you are going to provide a one-year program to become a chef or computer science, normally the loan would be a two-year loan. As you heard Edgardo said, and Lorna also alluded to it, normally you try to give a grace period that is at least during the time in which the student is attending school. That doesn't mean that you don't want the student to be making payments, yes, but you don't want them to be paying principal. You want them to be paying only the interest, if they can. As in the case of Edgardo, Genesis may even waive that. Normally, the student is required to pay interest while it's studying, and then starting paying principal. The logic would be that once he or she graduates, they have a better job and they can start paying. It is fundamental, and this is part of what the Omtrix team will try to work with each financial institution, is to instill that only careers that are in demand and people would be landing a job would be financed. That is really the underwriting principle of giving these loans. Having said that, normally and typically there will be a guarantor. And I know this is in Ghana, it's a big issue, but yes, normally, again, it depends for each institution, but normally there is a requirement of there being a guarantor. Again, it's for each institution to be selecting what they want to do. The interest rate, on the other hand, it is, and as much as one would like for that interest rate to be as low as possible, and we try to instill that it has to be as low as possible, there is a recognition that, this is not a highly subsidized program. It's one that it has to be attractive and profitable for the institution. It is a good program. It is a good product, has many benefits, but it has to carry its weight. The margins have to be adequate. And if the program are done right, then it is a profitable product for the financial institutions. Thank you, Nathaniel.
Given all the explanations you've been giving, is it the lender who structured the loan? How is it structured? The lender who structured
Can you repeat
Go
the
ahead.
question, please?
Okay, so the question being, given all the loan customization and customer centric, is it the lender who structured the loan, or is the customer who structured the loan, given all this customization?
Okay, in our case, there is a framework on where we
Okay.
can allocate our policies, and that framework tries to provide the most broad customization. It is not 100% open. There is a framework that gives us, as Alex was saying, depending on the length of the career, the framework it begins to shorten. The shorten the career, the framework opens, but the customization is it's pretty much done on that basis.
Okay, so how does Genesis manage the risk of this loan, given its various form of customization? How is the risk managed at your end?
Okay, since as you saw, the amount of customers is it's highly manageable, and we have a specific structure to handle this customer. We follow up very closely their grades on the studies that they go to, so we know they are engaged with the career path they have chosen, and that gives us a little broader idea of what the loan is going to look like at the end of the day. Because if a customer begins a career, gets a loan, we only disburse a lot, we disburse on a program way, so that the institution is receiving the money based on how the customer is evolving. So if we see a customer that is not getting the grades and he's not engaged, we have our psychologists that evaluate if the competence of the customer is going to be for that particular career. So as we manage closely, we know what the success rate is going to be. And that success rate on the social part of the studies and how we measure it is going to translate on the success of the loan payment at the end of the program. So it's a close evaluation of the customer, keeping close to him, and that will give us the perspective of the loan payment at when they finish their studies.
Maybe I'll complement that, and you might recall that we indicated that we would be normally looking at win-win associations and relations. One of the things that it's very carefully looked at, and we believe a big indicator or a big contributor to the success of the programs is to be in close association with in this case, the vocational and technical educational organizations. If you work hand with them, for one, they are the biggest promoters. The program can be promoted, and the educational organizations are very interested in finding ways in which their students can find the complement, the supplement they might need to finish their programs. And so they are very keen, and they're happy to work hand in hand with financial institutions. So it's a great source of promotion. The students come and that's how they get to know about the program. And on the other hand, like Edgardo was indicating, the students need to be monitored. I mean, if a student is not performing, if he or she are not delivering in their studies, there is no sense of continue to fund. It's throwing good money after bad money. So if a student is not performing, it's better to cut the losses and just do not continue with the disbursements. Of course, because the close association with the educational organizations, it is easier to have access to that performance. I mentioned that the program normally require a guarantee. The truth is that the payment for the loan is expected to be coming from the student when he or she graduates. Having said that, if a program is terminated, that is normally when payment is then going to be required from the guarantor. The student did not graduate, will not have an additional source of income. It doesn't mean that they or their parents will not pay, but that's where the guarantor becomes key. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry about the chat box being disabled. It's now able. You can send your questions in the chat box. There is an interesting question in for us. You see that in an economy where unemployment rate is very high, how sustainable is this given the fact that the repayment only begins when the student completes school and doesn't get a job? How is this one sustainable?
Maybe I'll address this. And you noticed from Edgardo's presentation that Guatemala's economy is not all that different from Ghana. And the program has done well. I mean, and the true would be for other Latin American and African countries, Uganda, for example, in which similar programs have been implemented. There is no easy answer. I mean, if somebody tells you that this is a panacea, that this is a silver bullet, no, that's not true. I mean, it is hard out there. And programs have to be designed well. If they are designed well, repayment rates are good, and impact is accomplished. Is it sustainable? Yes, it can be sustainable. It will always not be sustainable. If it's not done right, it will not, like any new product, it will not be sustainable. The question of repayment will start when the student, after completion of the school, gets a job. I think I already alluded to that when I indicated that because of the close contact with the educational organization, one tries to avoid the size of the loan ballooning. I mean, if it's not working, let's keep it, let's make it the smaller the damage, the better it will be for everybody. There's the element of the guarantee. Now, when one talks about sustainability, and I'm getting into a little bit more detail here, but normally, and I'm saying normally, the interest rate, which is, like Edgardo said, sometimes interest rate is required while the student is still attending school. So one could argue, how could a student be paying, even if it's only the interest, if he or she is attending school? Well, many students are working and studying, so they can generate enough to pay for the interest. On the other hand, maybe it's the parents who are paying for the interest rate only. And the principal and the subsuing interest will be paid for the student once he or she graduates. Again, every program is custom made. It can be sustainable if it's done right.
Okay. So last question, or last but one, just need a clarification on the repayment for the loan. Do students pay after the education program or during the education program? And if students must be paying after the education program, then the financial institution must track the student's post-education program to ensure repayment. Can you clarify this for us? Is it done before, after school, or during school?
Yeah, I would like to think that we already pretty much addressed that issue. There is no one way of doing it. It varies for each financial intermediary. So normally payments are after graduation. Some interest may be accrued while they're a student, and that we just, like I said, tried to answer that question. Maybe, and I noticed there's another one in terms of the duration of the technical assistant. Maybe I would ask Lorna to try to address that one.
Yes, well, we are proposing for Ghana the financing of short-term programs. Basically, what Edgardo has just mentioned, this kind of short-term programs will allow the students to conclude their studies very quickly and in careers that are in high demand, and therefore it would be well, very likely that the student will find a job very quickly, and therefore in that way the financial institution will be able to ensure the repayments of the loans.
Thank you, Lorna. And just and I know we're running out of time, Nathaniel, just complementing, as you indicated, the program is already underway. There are already 3 organizations, 3 financial institutions that are already signed up for the program. And late February, the Omtrix team will be visiting Ghana and start working with those 3 organizations, hoping to develop the manuals, the processes, so that, maybe by the end of the year or mid-year, there is already some loans out there in terms of a pilot project. And the idea is that this will, hopefully, with the good results of this pilot projects, that the program can grow to include many more other organizations, and even in a second stage funding. Right now, it's only technical assistance, but hopefully in the next stage, there will be funding. Again, thank you very much to you, to everybody.
One question. So how long will this technical assistance be? How long will the program? And how are the loans secured? So these 2 questions in one. How long is the program and how are the loans secured?
Yeah. A lot depends on CAP Plus and GAMFEIN and MasterCard Foundation. How long would you want to continue in the next phase or other phases? We having said that, in the short term, the program is scheduled to last for the duration of 2023.
Thank you so much for this. Thank you everyone for attending today's webinar. Like I said earlier on, the webinar was recorded. So we'll be sending you the presentation and a link to the recording in a few days. Thank you again. And with that said, we will be ending the webinar. But on the last screen, you will see that the upcoming event on 28th February, we are having financial analysis for FIs. It's a series, so we are starting with enterprise risk management. Thank you and have a good day.